Every 12 minutes. To unpack, it might not be true.
Okay, folks, being 6 o'clock, we'll call our meeting to order. And we need to take conflict of interest declarations from any council. Being none, our gentleman from Plan 360, if you'd like to do your presentation, please.
Hello everyone, my name is Caleb Babin. I'm here with Phil Robichaud. We both work with Plan 360. We're here to present a zoning request from White Birch Subdivisions Inc. who have a history of development in your community. The outcome of this item is to determine whether council wishes to approve, alter, postpone, or deny the request. Our role as staff includes ensuring rural plan policies are respected, to provide professional advice, and present recommendations regarding this proposal. We are here to listen to citizens and any comments regarding the proposal. To situate ourselves, to situate ourselves, the property in question is on Route 114. The 264-acre parcel is situated just south of the White Birch subdivision. The smaller 60-acre parcel, portion of the parcel in red, is to be rezoned. It's an unserviced area of the community without access to public water or sewers. Here's a closer view. The access is across from Tidewater Port, just south of a new street named Justin Drive. The property is immediately north of an existing mini home park. In addition, there is a watercourse cutting through the property to the west and on the northern boundary of the property. The property falls under the scope of the Westmoreland Albert Rural Plan, a rural plan adopted by the province prior to municipal reform. It falls outside the zoning regulation of former communities. The current zoning is rural area, which is the most common zoning in the area. To the north, it's zoned residential, where the White Birch subdivision exists. To the south is the dwelling group zone, which is the zone used to accommodate mini home parks. We also have agriculturally zoned property further south. So here you can see our mail out buffer. Letters were sent to every property owner with a property within a 200-meter radius of the subject property. This is double the 100-meter mail out buffer mandated by the province. Here's a closer look at the proposal. It is limited to a 60-acre portion of the property subject to the rezoning. The proposal is to establish a 48-unit mini home park divided into 3 phases. Phase 1 includes 14 mini homes, phase 2 includes 18 mini homes, and phase 3 is comprised of 16 mini homes. It's on private services, featuring 1 shared septic system for each of the 3 phases and 2 shared wells for the whole project. The septic systems are to be reported on monthly by an independent environmental engineer. All lanes and roadways are going to be private and administered and maintained by the property owner. The main access will be on Route 114, while a secondary gate-restricted access reserved for emergency use will connect Justin Drive. A watercourse along the northern property boundary prevents development from occurring over beyond the northern property line. We had also received questions regarding where the walls are placed. You can see on this map, they are outlined in red. The proposal was subject to a comprehensive water impact assessment as per the province's requirements. To accommodate the development, there's a specific zone within the rural plan. It's called the dwelling group zone, rezoned on a case-by-case basis. Only properties with existing mini home parks or similar uses would have that zoning. That means any new mini home parks wouldn't be allowed without going through a rezoning. There are general conditions in the plan that orient these types of developments, such as fire code safety, road lane and width, and lot sizes for mini homes. As you can see, the mini home rezoning would only occur on an eastern portion of the parcel. We've prepared a bylaw for the rezoning. It'll be the first amendment and rezoning in the Westmoreland Albert Rural Plan that covers Fundy Albert. Here's a closer look at the lot dimensions for the mini homes, which are respecting lot sizes in the rural plan. They're allowed to be smaller than your typical lot since they're on shared private systems, including septic and water. This is just an example of the type of mini homes that could be built on the property. A full list of designs is currently being finalized. It's not strictly going to be make-believe homes. Landscaping is additionally required to become. Landscaping is additionally to be completed with the sale of each home. To avoid the possibility of unsightly premises, the proponent is drafting a set of bylaws exclusive to the mini home park, as they had previously done with Cross Creek and Riverview. Here's the typical cross-section for the access road. The main road is intended to be paved, while the side roads are a bit narrower and are intended to be chip sealed. Here are the plans for the code lock gate on Justin Drive, intended to restrict access outside of emergencies. And here's a plan for the locking mechanism. Now here is a Google Street View of the subject lands viewed from Route 114. Now, is it an appropriate use for the site? The proposal is well suited for the property as it avoids the watercourse and is located near similar low density uses. Why make the exception? It's not doing typical 1 acre development along the road. However, the mechanism exists within the rural plan to capture these types of requests. What's the context? It's a small tapered lot at the front, which opens to a larger section to the east, or to the west, pardon. The proposal allows ample green space and separation from neighboring properties. What makes it a reasonable rezoning? Policies speak to support residential development near existing nodes without the creation of new public infrastructure and utilizing existing public infrastructure. Comments were both the province and municipality were consulted. Fundy Albert staff discussed the plan and had no comments at that time. The town of Riverview Fire and Rescue is ensuring that the proposed roads are capable of accommodating fire apparatuses. Comments were received from a number of provincial agencies, including the Department of Environment and Local Government, Department of Agriculture, Aquaculture and Fisheries, Department of Transportation and Infrastructure, and finally Tourism, Heritage and Culture. 2 agencies provided comments that require the addition of conditions to be fulfilled prior to the issuance of the development permit if council chooses to proceed with the request. The first being the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure requiring a site distance report and traffic impact study, which has not yet been completed, but would be necessary prior to development. That accesses meet provincial road standards will additionally be required. The Department of Environment requires a comprehensive water study, which has been completed by the applicant and must be submitted to the province as a condition prior to the issuance of a development permit. The Planning Review and Adjustment Committee recommended in favor of the proposed rezoning from rural area dwelling group due to it reinforcing existing residential nodes, providing housing options, in addition to limiting the need for additional public infrastructure, subject to the following conditions. 1. So A, that the permitted main uses of the property be limited to 1, a mini home park, 2, a passive recreation use, 3, an institutional use, 4, light commercial uses subject to section 3.19, 5, recreational uses, B, that the permitted secondary uses of the property be limited to one, a home-based business or home industry subject to section 3.11. C, that all on-site maintenance, for example, garbage collection, snow removal, and infrastructure, for example, access, fire hydrants, are the responsibility of the property owner. D, that all development must follow the National Building Code fire safety setbacks. E, the approval of the local fire chief must be obtained regarding access for emergency vehicles prior to the issuance of the development permit. F, that future development of the property shall be done in substantial conformity to the attached site plan. G, that the 30-meter riparian buffers from each side of the water course identified along the northern boundary line be maintained. H, that a comprehensive water study be conducted and submitted to the Environmental Science and Protection Division of the Department of Environment and Local Government in order to determine if the water supply source can provide adequate water quantity and acceptable water quality for the intended purpose over the short and long term without creating any potential impacts to existing groundwater users in the area prior to the issuance of a development permit. I, it is the sole responsibility of the owner to maintain a secondary access for an emergency exit on Justin Drive in perpetuity. J, a traffic impact study is to be conducted and submitted for review to the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure in respect to traffic flow onto Route 114 prior to the issuance of a development permit. K, that a site distance report is to be conducted and submitted for review to the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure prior to the issuance of a development permit. I, that a plan showing that all private streets within the proposed mini home park respect a minimum road thickness of 150 millimeter base and 300 millimeter sub base prior to the issuance of a development permit. And M, that a report be provided to the Regional Service Commission by a professional engineer licensed in the province of New Brunswick, confirming streets meet the required minimum road thickness of 150 millimeter base and 300 millimeter sub base prior to the issuance of a development permit. So this is an overview of where we stand in the rezoning process since the initial resolution in March. Today is the second public hearing to be held. The final readings are expected in July. All legal requirements under the Community Planning Act will be satisfied after the public hearing, and council may decide to pursue with the adoption of the rezoning. Council's options are to 1, accept the order as recommended by the Southeast Planning Review Committee. 2, accept the bylaw but modify, add, and or remove conditions. 3, postpone the request and request additional information. And 4, deny the request. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you. Review of written submissions.
So we've received 12 written submissions. I'll start with my pile. Let me take turns if you want. Give you a break. So this one says, to whom it may concern, I want to support the rezoning of the property on Route 114, PID 05115621 to become Ashwood Mini Home Community. I currently live at 32 Belfield Road, Lower Coverdale with my family, and I will be buying my first home in Ashwood hopefully this year if the park is ready. The park will not only be my home, but also where I will be working, building the roads and paths for new homes. There are many ways this park will be great for the neighborhood, including new homes people can afford to buy and jobs for people that live around here. Please rezone this land so Ashwood can be built. Luke Wilson.
To whom it may concern, we wish to inform you that we, Dwayne and Gail Law, object to the rezoning of a portion of PID number 05115621 from rural area to dwelling group for the purpose of a 48 unit mini park. We feel the increased traffic from 48 homes entering and exiting from Justin Drive and the road opposite Tidewater Drive is a safety concern as the speed limit goes up to 80 kilometers in this area. We do realize a traffic study is being done. We want to put our concerns forward as we live between the two streets and are very aware of the speed at which the vehicles drive in this area, which is in excess of the 80 kilometers posted. We have had some close calls over the years trying to pull out of our driveway. Our property, 1548 Route 114, is beside the property requesting to be rezoned. So we are also very concerned about the water quality and quantity. We have never had any issues with our well water. We realize a comprehensive water impact assessment is being completed, but we want to voice our concerns with the new wells and septic systems that would be installed. We also object because we are extremely concerned about our property value, along with the properties on Justin Drive that will be impacted. As we heard at the May 6th public meeting, some residents that bought and built recently on Justin Drive were not informed of a proposed mini home park. The community mailboxes are at the bottom of Justin Drive, and with increased traffic, including dump trucks that have been going up and down Justin Drive and the business that somehow managed to locate there, this is going to be a safety concern. We do not recall that there was rezoning done for this business. Thank you for reviewing these concerns and taking these concerns into consideration before making any final decisions. Respectfully, Dwayne and Gail Law.
Do this one.
Well, maybe we can.
Subject concerns regarding proposed rezoning 1580 Route 114 PID 05115621. Dear Kim Beers. Following my previous correspondence regarding the rezoning application for PID 05115621 at 1580 Route 114, I'm writing on behalf of our household and several neighbors to formally express concern about the proposed development proceeding in its current form. We appreciate the municipality's effort to engage the public through the scheduled hearing process and for the opportunity to request detailed planning documentation. We recognize that thoughtful development is an important part of our community growth. However, in this instance, the scale, servicing model, and long-term implications of the proposed development raise significant questions regarding its compatibility with the established character, capacity, and rural planning intent of this area. Our concerns fall into the following key areas: compatibility with rural character and density. The proposed 48-unit mini home park represents a notable shift from the low-density development pattern that defines the surrounding area. While some evolution in land use is expected, the proposed form and density appear inconsistent with the intent of the rural area designation under the current municipal plan. The rural area designation reflects more than just zoning. It signals an expectation of low-density landscape integrated living that aligns with the character of the surrounding community. The transition to a medium or high-density clustered residential model, such as the one proposed, is likely to alter the landscape, increase noise and lighting impacts, and diminish the sense of space that defines this part of the municipality. In the package submitted for the May 6th meeting, the applicant stated that the remainder of the land will maintain its current rural area RA zoning with no planned changes to the land use on these portions of land. However, this statement provides no assurance for the future. It is not legally binding or enforceable, therefore offers little comfort to residents. Concerned about the long-term land use implications given the size of the overall parcel, has the developer considered placing the 48 mini homes on larger half-acre lots, which would better align with the surrounding area and help spread out the environmental impacts across the site? Further, we request written confirmation that no further rezoning application will be made for the PID 05115621 going forward, and that the remaining parcels shall remain zoned rural. This is not a matter of opposition to the development in principle. It is a concern about the scale, fit, long-term precedent, and subsequent impacts and consequences. Once a highly density development is introduced, further proposals may easily infer a precedent exists for the future zoning considerations, and that the ensuring need to make adjustments for the local infrastructure in response unintended consequences. Servicing, maintenance, and governance. We understand that the development will likely be privately serviced and maintained, which is typical for a dwelling group development such as mini home parks. We respectfully express some concerns about ensuring that the long-term maintenance responsibilities, such as the upkeep of roads, sewage, and draining systems, green spaces, and other shared infrastructures are clearly defined and managed. Having a formal and accountable homeowners association or a formal management structure in place that can help support ongoing maintenance and address community needs effectively. Water supply and aquifer protection. The proposed 48 unit development could place substantial and ongoing demands on the shared groundwater aquifer. Nearby homes rely on well water often from the interconnected systems. If the aquifer is overdrawn, the consequences could be significant for surrounding residents and local environment. A hydrological, well, big word, assessment is critical to conform the aquifer's capacity, recharge rate, and resilience under past demand scenarios such as drought or emergency fire protection. The rest are not hypothetical, they are measurable and potentially irreversible. Precedent, the use of nearby development as justification. We are concerned that the application presents the existence of nearly 28 lot Birch Grove Mobile Park as justification for the proposed 48 unit development. This is a form of confirmation bias, where one past decision is used to rationalize further actions without necessarily revisiting whether the original development was appropriate or in context or simply grandfathered in. The Birch Grove location, in our view, is considered an outlier in statistical numeric terms compared to everything else from region town limits through to Hillsborough. It is important to assess whether the existing park was ever evaluated for its impact on water supply, septic capacity, and compatibility with surrounding land uses and environmental regulations. Referencing its existence as justification for further intensification on nearby land may accelerate a cascading shift away from the intended rural character of the community, given the visibly apparent level of maintenance and upkeep of Birch Grove Park. We also feel it could serve as a reminder for why concerns such as those we are raising are so critical. If the 48 unit proposal is approved, it could further be cited as precedent for even larger developments in the future. In this way, a pattern of incremental intensification could take hold, one that may not be in alignment with the goals of the rural plan or the exceptions of current residents. Need for full transparency and access to technical studies. As previously requested, we respectfully reiterate the importance of receiving the following for public record, including a full set of planning, environmental engineering, and servicing documents before the hearing. These materials are essential for enabling informed public participation and ensuring the process reflects both community values and professional standards. We are concerned that there may be some unintended consequences that the municipality inherits, becomes responsible for, and has to remediate as part of its risk management evaluation phase of the approved process. We have specific concerns, but without the opportunity to review the reports and studies, we have chosen not to add this speculation. However, the residents of Tidewater Court have no interest in accepting any incremental risk, whether it be financial to property or emotional stress, security, or safety because of impacts related to their proximity to this proposed development. We thank you for your time and attention to these matters. Our intent is not to obstruct responsible growth, but to ensure that it is well thought out and aligns with the vision, character, capacity, and planning goals for the community we live in, and that ensuring issues will be properly and immediately addressed by the municipality as they arise. We look forward to participating in a respectful and transparent public process. Respectfully submitted, Richard Thompson.
Hello, I'm writing regarding my concerns with the proposed rezoning of the above mentioned PID 05115621. I'm not against using this property for a mini home park, but I am concerned with the access points to this trailer park, both during the construction and by the mini home residents once this project has been completed. The developer has advised the residents of White Birch Estates that the mini home park will not be attached to our neighborhood via Petersville Street or elsewhere. However, their recent expansion of the road at the end of Petersfield Street to the airstrip, now used as a dumping ground, suggests otherwise. Are they planning to use this to access the property during construction? It seems unlikely they would spend the money to expand the entrance to this area via Petersville Street if they are not planning to use this, at least during the construction of this project. They have hundreds of piles of dirt and debris dumped there. MRM has been using Petersville Street to access this area, dumping ground, for the past few years. This has destroyed the roads in the neighborhood, has increased traffic significantly during the day. Some days there are speeding trucks going through the area nonstop. Complaints have been made before requesting that something be done about their speeding trucks, considering this is a residential neighborhood with children playing, people walking, etc. But nothing has been done. We've requested some stop signs or speed bumps to be installed to reduce the amount of trucks and speed of traffic. The trucks fly down Petersville Street to access the dumping ground, which goes directly by the community park. MRM markets this area of White Birch subdivision as an executive neighborhood, but has been a trucking zone for at least the past 8 years. They don't enforce their covenants. They say their trucks are being used for the construction of the roads, which now are complete. However, they are dumping loads of dirt from other construction job sites on the airstrip. They are also allowing other businesses to use the property as a dumping ground. Why is this commercial activity allowed to destroy our roads and go through our neighborhood on Petersville Street? It seems they did not properly build the roads if they are constantly so damaged. Says but it should be they. They should be using their own road to access this area, and that they have built off of Route 114. It is not the few trucks that are working on the building of the homes in the area that are going up and down the street, and hundreds of time to dump the loads at the airstrip. I work from home and my window looks directly onto the area. They drive with their trucks, so I see on a daily basis the amount of trucks traveling there, the speed that they're going, and which companies are doing the damage to the roads. My concern, more traffic will further deteriorate the roads in the neighborhood, and the construction will bring increased speeding through this residential area. Stop signs or speed bumps should be installed to deter or at least slow down all of the trucks going by. Can we be assured that the access to this project during construction and after is not being done through Petersville Street and will be done through another entrance as the developer has stated it would be? Otherwise, I'm very much opposed to this rezoning. How many phases of this mini home park will there be? The amount of traffic and speeding trucks it will bring is simply dangerous. There was no name.
To whom it may concern, hello, my name is Chris Richard. Myself and my partner Natalie live on 11th Petersville Street. We are 100% approval of this planned community. At some point, we would be looking to downsize and remain in this area, which we absolutely love. I believe it's very important to add housing, and especially more affordable housing in these times of uncertainty and cost. It's also keeping more skilled laborers going and continue to grow their skills. We are in strong support of the reasoning which would allow this park to move forward. We really don't understand why there would be any pushback for such a fantastic project to move forward, as this really has little impact on us and our community. That's our thoughts on the matter. Kind regards, Chris Richard.
To fund the Albert Council, my name is Andy Mills and I currently live on Fairview Road in Lower Coverdale. I'm writing today to show my support for the rezoning of the property PID 05115621 for use as a mini home community. I'm absolutely in favor of this proposed development. As a newly graduated student from NBCC in carpentry, I am not only about to enter the job market, but I will soon be looking for housing options. While I would like to stay in my community, the hospital home in Lower Coverdale and Whitebird specifically has become so far out of reach for me that my current options are to look at apartments in Riverview and Moncton paying someone else's mortgage. The average cost of a home in my neighborhood has skyrocketed above what single families can afford, let alone a single person. Mini home development represents an opportunity for me to own my own home in the area I grew up in, where I want to stay. As a carpenter, this development also means employment opportunities for my trade and many other trades. Creating jobs in our community should be a goal for our government as well as affordable housing. So please consider my email as enthusiastic support for the rezoning and creation of a mini home community, where I hope to call my home in the near future. Sincerely, Abby Mills.
I, Mark Daggett, am not in favor and stand opposed against property PID 05115621 being rezoned from rural area to a dwelling group for the purposes of a 48-unit mini home park. I do not see this rezoning as a good fit to the local community of Lower Coverdale, its residents, or its areas of interest of any form fitting future development. Mini home parks are also bring with them a number of problematic issues which are not a good fit with current developments ongoing and those citizens making such investments in the area. It is simply not the direction this area is headed. You wouldn't want it behind town hall property either, so Lower Coverdale is not a dumping ground either. Mark Daggett, Lower Coverdale.
Fundy Albert Council 2025. Please accept this email as a show of support for the rezoning of PID number 05115621 Route 114 to become a mini home community. I am currently a resident of Birch Grove Mini Home Community in Lower Coverdale and a direct neighbor of the proposed new mini home community. My home is about 60 feet from the property line of the new park, so this development will definitely impact me and my home. I had spent many years living in apartments in the Moncton area, and in 2023, I fell victim to reno-viction. An out-of-province investor bought the home I rented and forced me out by claiming renovations were required. Purchasing a mini home in Lower Coverdale has allowed me to escape the congestion of the city and enjoy the peace and quiet in my own home. With the current housing market and housing crisis in the area, mini homes are a valid option for affordability. And an added bonus of a mini home is the energy efficiency that allows for smaller power bills. My current neighborhood holds 25 homes. I know all of my neighbors and feel completely safe in this community, unlike many apartments I've lived in. People deserve affordable houses, and mini homes are the perfect option to bridge that gap. I look forward to seeing this development happen. Thank you for your time, Mike J. Doucette.
Good day. I'm simply sending this email to express my objection for the above noted bylaw to rezone PID 05115621 to dwelling group. Thank you, Gabe. Do you have any more to read?
Yep. Dear councillors, I hope this message finds you well. My name is Jeff Bro and we are new residents of Jesse Drive, where my wife and I recently completed construction of our dream home. We were disheartened to learn that the land directly behind our property is now being considered for rezoning to allow the development of a 48-unit mini home park. Had this information been available last year when we asked, both the seller and the municipality withheld this information. We would not have selected this location to build our home. We have made significant investment in good faith, believing that the surrounding land was consistent with the character and long-term vision of the rural area. We are very concerned that this rezoning would significantly alter the residential landscape, negatively impact property values, and potentially affect the overall safety, infrastructure, and appeal of our neighborhood. We have not seen the mentioned proposal to use Justin Drive as a secondary access road to the park. When will this be available? We have felt there was a lack of transparency during the development permitting process, where especially troubling to new homeowners like us. I'm respectfully asking you to reconsider this proposed rezoning and to represent the concerns of residents in this community who are directly affected. If there are upcoming meetings or opportunities for public input, I would appreciate the chance to participate and have our voices heard. Second to the above mentioned, if the development of the park passes, what are the proposed covenants? Will the community have a voice in this decision? Example number 1, homes less than 5 years old upon initial installation. Number 2, are the yards kept to higher maintenance standards? For example, grass, curb appeal, and fencing. Number 3, no business operating from the park. Thank you for your time and service to our community. Sincerely, Jeff and Noel Bro.
Regarding the application for rezoning the property bearing PID 05115621 to allow for the construction of a 48-unit mini home park. We would like to raise not an objection, but a concern or related suggestion. Route 114 in that area is currently not safe for pedestrians or cyclists because there is little to no shoulder on either side of the road. A construction of 48 mini homes will mean an increase in pedestrian traffic, especially more children and youth and perhaps seniors. It would be well advised for the Funday Albert Council or Zoning Committee to consider this in their deliberations, and that any potential approval be accompanied by infrastructure support to allow for the widening of the Route 114 in those areas in proximity to the mini home park. Thank you, Paul Toner. And the last one is, I am opposed to this development and I will be attending the meeting. Terry LeBlanc, 41 Mark Holmes Street, Lower Coverdale.
Thank you. So comments for the gallery, if anybody'd like to speak, we'll give you an opportunity to do that. I'd ask you to be respectful and
You want to stand? I'm Terry, Terry LeBlanc from 41 Markham Street. I've been down there since 78, bought in 76. MRM bought our subdivision, I'm gonna say in mid-80s. Just come on down the street and see what kind of maintenance they do. That's my one point. The one point is the well water. We need to have that test done now. How much the aquifer is gonna take? What I was explaining, if it's like a big river, it comes up from way back Salisbury, goes under the river, way back in Reverend Cook. Now, what's that gonna be effective with that? The sewers, I just learned that there's gonna be 3 sewer systems in the subdivision, in the park. Are they gonna be maintained? MRM does not maintain our sewer system. That's always been a bone of contention. And as for the zoning of their construction site up there, I'd like to see that plan. So if somebody from MRN can explain to me where they got the plan or how they got the plan, I'd like to know. And the traffic can't be sustained on 114. Where I live, you come off the subdivision and you got a great big hill. They come over that hill, 80, 90, 100 kilometers. I've been down here, like I say, since 78, and I've been close to being hit once or twice or 3 or 4 times. It just can't be sustained for what there is there. Now, are they going to be adding more plants? I mean, there's a big piece of ground up there. I know Bill West when he developed that airfield. And when Bobby Cook wanted to develop that field, he wanted homes and he didn't want mini homes. And here we are, they're planning a mini home park. And like they said, I think with this Petersfield Road, that's going to be another entrance to what they're planning. There's just too many ifs and they're not enough answers. That's all I need to say now.
thank you. This,
So my name is Rebecca Davis. My husband Stefan Perdon and I live at 3 Tidewater Court with our 5 children and our dog. Who I would agree are a little concerned about the safety of our children who currently can't safely walk from our home at the top of Tidewater down to Brian's Convenience, in my opinion, because of the traffic. but I digress. So I'm speaking on behalf of my household and several of our concerned neighbors on Tidewater Court regarding the rezoning application at stake here today. We would like to thank council and staff for the opportunity to participate in this process and for making space for community impact. Just to begin, I do want to reassure on our behalf that we do support responsible growth and development that aligns with community character and long-term planning goals. This scale of development introduces urban density and infrastructure into a rural environment, creating long-term implications for the area's identity and growth trajectory. The proposed 48-unit mini home park represents a significant departure from the established low-density rural character of the area. Local residents rely on well water from a shared aquifer, with this proposed development introducing significant new demands on the system. We request a hydrogeological study to assess the aquifer's capacity and recharge ability, especially during drought or emergency fire conditions, and an assessment on if proposed stormwater infrastructure can stand up to extreme rainfall and potential flooding events. We requested clarification on additional phases or future expansions envisioned beyond the initial 48 units, as it does appear that there is an adjoining parcel of land sharing the same PID. We requested confirmation of the full extent of the land under the developer's control and any long-term plans to assess cumulative impacts and to ensure consistent alignment with the municipal plan. The response from Caleb Bevan with Plan 360 and the municipality was that the proposed rezoning is limited in scale, as a larger rezoning occupying a greater share of the parcel would have likely required an environmental impact assessment. When we questioned whether an environmental impact assessment was done, we were told it was also not required because the flow of pre-disposal fields will be under 20,000 liters a day, so not regulated under the Department of Justice and Public Safety, with no approvals required under the Department of Environment and Local Government. What about that adjacent parcel of land with that same PID? It appears that another rezoning request would be pretty easy, as that would then be a smaller area of land like this one in question now, with then precedent to fall back upon, and thus not require an environmental assessment then either, though cumulatively it would potentially cause the number of units required, infrastructure as well, and disposal elements to double or more. According to the response from the municipality, no requirements for soil testing arose in regard to erosion during consultations with provincial agencies. As has been submitted by Richard Thompson, stated in his letter to the municipality, there are already emails from the province confirming a significant amount of erosion is occurring in our area. So I asked, how can this be? We, the residents of Tidewater Court, are extremely concerned regarding the lack of a comprehensive threat and risk assessment. No environmental assessments for this parcel of land for rezoning or for cumulative future plans, and no soil testing regarding erosion. So every effort has been made, in fact, to ensure that these studies not be required. This is extremely disheartening, considering such a judgment call opens the municipality up to unforeseen risks by omission, as Mr. Thompson stated, especially as there exists communication already that confirms prior knowledge of a potential problem. What about all of the area's stakeholders who would be so greatly impacted by the lack of studies done ahead of rezoning these parcels of land? Due diligence doesn't mean the minimum amount of diligence required. It means area stakeholders receive the diligence they are due. What we are due and what we deserve is the maximum amount of diligence possible. That has not taken place. Today, I respectfully, on behalf of Tidewater Court residents, request that the rezoning process for this piece of land be put on hold until proper studies such as those we've mentioned can take place and a comprehensive threat and risk assessment can be completed. If studies are not completed or they result in findings that are not best for the well-being and safety of area stakeholders, it is then a request that the rezoning request be denied. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, thank you very much. Questions, sorry?
I'm Richard Thompson, and you didn't include one of my emails. So therefore, that's fine. It is in your, should be in your files. I'm the one with the soil erosion problems that were created at the request of the province of New Brunswick, the engineer from Moncton. And I just want to say that these kind of things do come about by accident or by unintentional omissions, okay? But that still means that the province, since they're the one that did it, and since you're now in the municipality, you automatically own the problem because you're automatically approving. Therefore, going forward, all risk is yours. And for us, we only want to know that someone's going to do due diligence on this, make sure that none of us are inappropriately affected going forward. And that's all we would like. Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry about your email, but
I think you read the letter. Are you talking about the email?
I have a photographic memory.
I think I have it here.
Okay.
unfortunately I don't.
You have the long one.
I have the long one, yeah, that I read. Um,
And it. I'll read it.
Thank you.
This is to inform you that we intend to file a notice of objection concern regarding the above noted rezoning application. I respectfully request full copies related to this application for our review and consideration as we are located at 26 Tidewater Court and are very much affected by anything that happens uphill from our property. We are already dealing with an extensive erosion issue manifested by construction work undertaken by the province roughly 10.5 years ago that remains unresolved. As a retired former senior strategic advisor to the federal government deputy minister, I know by experience that it is important to have our concerns made part of the public record in order to preserve and protect our interests. Respectfully, Richard Thompson.
Yeah, there's also another one.
There's another one.
It was one that, but it was the one that went with the letter, and it's,
Oh.
read that in?
I didn't include that one. I just read the 3-page letter was what we included.
No, but there was also the verbiage that covered it. And old Gale has it too.
Oh, okay. Well, there's one. Okay, I think I found it. Is that the one that you would ask questions and Caleb?
No, it's the one that went with the actual formal concern, letter of concern. I said, would you like this also to be added to the? It would have been my own comments in addition to what the members of our street had agreed to. And I know they both, the clerk and Caleb both got it.
I believe I have it in my email here, just be a moment.
In the body of the email.
Yeah, the body of the email.
Okay, I think I have it here. Is it attached or 2 files?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So attached are 2 files, one in MS Word and the other a PDF. In addition to these letters, we wish to express concern on the lack of comprehensive threat and risk assessment. Any project under consideration by any level of government requires one, especially when changes that may affect the stakeholders are contemplated. I have already expressed concern regarding the soils erosion, and the potential for greater risk going forward. We already have emails from the province confirming that operations undertaken by them resulted in a significant amount of erosion that is continuing, but they have no funds to correct it. Not having the funds does not absolve the province or the municipality of a duty to repair and to make whole the affected people and their properties, nor does it provide coverage from any other related liability. The fact that an environmental study has not been done bears evidence that there is at least one material defect in this administrative process, in our opinion, because it is simply a judgment call that was made that opens a municipality up to unforeseen risks by omission, especially since there exists communication that confirms prior knowledge of the potential problem. The failure of the province to make that information available or take it into account is at best irresponsible. Omission of a comprehensive review also does not absolve the municipality of a responsibility related to their decisions. It just creates an agency problem that opens the municipality to future unknown expenditures and potential litigation. I respectfully ask this email to be added to the record. It's respectfully Richard Thompson.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
If I had a question on the water course, what water course are we talking?
Yeah, it's just a small stream that's mapped by GeoMD.
Is it on the north side of the existing micro now?
That's right,
So it's Cherry Creek.
You know the culvert that separates Parkdale and Stony Creek?
That's Cherry Creek.
That's Cherry Creek, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yes,
Where's the groundwater gonna go?
the groundwater from the,
From the subdivision, from the mini home park.
I don't know those details.
Okay, that's what
Um,
should have to be learned too, because if you're gonna mess up with that Cherry Creek again, you're gonna have to do a lot of work in there.
Can you pull up the map that you had as well, please, for where the wells were?
Absolutely.
You can just for clarification,
We can probably get that information on our own, can we?
we do have it, I just didn't bring it with us, we just wanna clarify just one quick question.
Yeah. But can you get it online somewhere?
Yes,
Ah,
if you message the municipality, they will clearly point you to look yourself.
yeah, that's not very clear, for sure. That's Cherry Creek borders, man, that's mine.
Wow.
And all they have is a giant little 25-inch culvert, call it a dike with surge. Dike.
So Cherry Creek's one, that'd be after.
What is called a motion?
There's Brian's Variety.
Yeah.
And then there's Tidewater.
There's a creek there too?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, there's another creek.
We just were wondering for clarification, just because some of us have less than young eyes. Myself, is one of those wells outside of the current PID request?
The one on the left, would appear to be so.
That seems a little. Seems right.
Phase two of the park will be on.
Phase two that we've been assured is not going to be turning into another one of these park, but there's the well that we're supposed to.
All three phases are contained within the.
Oh, phase four, sorry, for phase four.
Clarification, they're both on the same PID, they're just outside the area zone for mini homes, so.
That's what she's
That's the
asking.
point.
Okay.
The point is that it's outside the.
Fixing a PID for 48 mini homes, and we're talking about a well that's not in that current rezoning request. So again, that seems a little like less diligence than we deserve.
It's outside the zone.
All construction, so everything should be inside,
Everything should be
The red
inside.
or else.
Yeah.
And where's the septic field going?
Uh,
Across the road for my children, area.
Yeah. There'll be
Are they,
one, according to the plan that I have,
yeah.
there's one pretty close to the road down where you see, there's 2 or 3 numbers at the very bottom. It's small enough that I can't think of the numbers well here. Okay, that's the closest one that's gonna be to, Route 114. You're almost right there. Yeah, that's the first one.
So that's one.
That's one. Then the next 2 are up a little higher, right about there, and then there. Yeah.
There's nice letters on the
Yeah.
banner.
Yeah. Not true.
Good fiddles.
I let them grow the ferns this year.
I'll say from experience, you cannot trust a developer. I'm sorry. I have to put that in. You cannot trust a developer. We were supposed to have a green space down in the lower part of Greensboro, White Birch. They built homes in there. They tried to build another home and I opposed it and they lost that. The foundation is still there. That was supposed to be all green space. They went and built some homes in there. How they got the permit, I don't know. I just don't trust them. I'm sorry, this one. If they're here tonight.
Precedent dictates you don't trust. Precedent that has dictated you don't trust.
Trust
You're
is
not
earned,
gonna go
not-
anywhere.
No.
But that's what this one is, there's one building and there's another one building.
I've been rented out of my sewer cut off.
No, you earn
My
trust.
family sewer cut off.
Okay, folks, we're kind of drifting
I know,
off.
I know.
So,
I just have to get there.
I know, I understand, so,
You should know, as a senior being living down there since '76.
but what you brought up has nothing to do with this.
That's right. Fine.
I understand what you're doing.
Who's the officers of the company? Of the general here? The owner of the company, sir, here. Oh, and you, Jim, I know you, yeah. And you know our problem. I don't really care about your problems. That has nothing to do with me. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Karen McCurdy Thompson, I'm from Tidewater. I just wanted to, mine is nothing to do with, well, it's to do with the development, but I want to emphasize how important it is. I'm not a child. And I like to bicycle on that way, and I like to walk, and I like to do a lot of things that involve the highway. And it's going to be very dangerous, because I'm petrified to go on my bicycle, and I know a lady that every time I go by, she wonders where I'm going. I go on the Nigeri Road. You don't dare to go on that highway. And where Tidewater is, you're coming up over that little hill. So if we have traffic coming down this way and we have traffic coming up over this hill and we're going to try to make a left-hand turn, it's going to be terrible. So not only for the children's sake, but for us old folks that like to get out and participate in activities during the good months of the year at least, I think it needs to be checked out a little bit further. That's my own personal point of view.
Okay, folks,
Haven't almost been hit a few times, so I know what it's like.
please be careful. Any questions from council? Go ahead, Mr. Coates.
12. Submissions were sent in, and I believe, if I'm correct, there was one really in favor of the park. The second one was more, he was all right with the park, but he was more concerned with the traffic on 114. How many notices did you send out? Do you know, have a count?
I can bring up the list here. Memory tells me roughly 50, but it could be less than that. I'll have to check here.
They were sent out twice.
Yeah. And I looked at, I was close to 100 in the subdivisions in the area of people, okay? So I don't think there's a great objection to it.
We never got a letter, we're on gear, Bill.
Right, and at the end of our street, there was no letters, it just went to the top 3 residents of our street. So this poor man with his eroding land didn't even receive a letter.
So 51 letters were sent out, according to a 200-meter buffer, so everywhere 200 meters from the property received a letter, if it was registered with S&D, so some people, let's say they own a property there and they live in Ontario, the letter would be sent to Ontario. So whatever is registered with SMB. But we made the point, if, people who had received letters last time, we only had 100-meter runoff buffer, we actually, the purpose of this meeting was to, in addition to the initial May 6th meeting was to, double the buffer so that more people could be informed and more people could,
May I ask for an indulgence here? Would someone put up the photograph of the whole?
the map with the.
I want to show you where my house is, and the topology of the land is extremely important. I am at the bottom of the thing. The road is like that. We have to have a 4-wheel drive to get up the road in the winter time if that's steep. So the point I want to make is, I don't think it was nice to not include people who will be affected by it. I am at the very bottom there, and I've had to redo my geothermal well covers 3 times. I have 8 geothermal wells. Okay, there's a closed loop. That's expensive to do. I'm out $30,000-$40,000 because of the erosion there. I have a ditch that you guys are welcome to come and see. That's over 20 feet wide, over 20 feet deep, and it goes down to the river that was done because of what the province did. So therefore, my land is sandy. So therefore, whatever happens up there happens to me. And that's why I wanted to just show you, so you can see the topology is like this. It's straight downhill.
It goes downhill to the river.
Right down to the river. And when it gets to
Where?
me, last year, I washed it rooster tail out of some special pipes I put in the ground to get rid of the water because they won't fix the problem. Well, but they say they have no money. So the problem is I washed it rooster tail out of some special pipes I put in to get rid of it and be a release valve. And we had a laugh about it because you could see it shoot out. So I'm just trying to point out, sometimes when you do something, you create a problem, for all the best reasons. You create a problem that somebody has to live with, somebody has to spend money on. I don't have the time to do my landscaping because I'm doing repair all the time. So my point is, if you're gonna do this, fine, but fix my problem because you created the problem. That's all I'm asking. Okay, you own the problem. If you approve, you also
I
own the
don't
problem.
understand what your problem is, and I don't understand how the
My problem is
municipality.
high flood erosion. That 20-foot wide deep is a safety hazard. People can fall into it. Okay? They shouldn't be on my property in the first place, but I'm not gonna put a no trespass sign.
But the
Okay?
problem is that this erosion exists. The information didn't go far enough down to him to receive it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing in the record that's showing anything is being done
I
to
understand.
prevent it getting worse.
But that has nothing to do with what we're here for tonight.
Yes, it has a lot to do.
We sent out, we exceeded what the recommendations were by 360 planning. We notified people 200 meters.
Look, you know, I was a senior advisor to a deputy minister. I know how to get around all the rules too. Okay, I did that for 26 years. So I know the game very well. I am trying to tell you that I know the game is being played, I don't like it, and I'm not being accusing. All I'm saying is I know how it's done. I'm asking you to own up to whatever it is that you do, you own the problem. That's all. That's all I want,
Thank you.
okay? Do you wanna show me where my property is and then let them know what the effect is? It's up to you.
You said you live on the end of the street.
On the very end of Tidewater. My house is the biggest house in the area.
Who built Tidewater?
Um,
The people that built that street, was it the province?
Downey'sville.
Down.
Yeah.
So they're the ones that built the street.
but it was a promise, it altered course that caused my problem.
That altered the course of water. That's a different problem than we're talking about tonight. So if you would,
It's a cause and effect, sir.
okay, I hear you.
We're asking you to be proactive instead of reactive. That's the point here. There is not enough proactivity. I know you're meeting the minimum standards, but you're not telling us that you're doing anything.
We went above the minimum standards.
and it served you well.
Yeah.
It brought
So you're
people,
saying there can't be any environmental impact study done because of the size of the place?
Because it falls underneath the size,
That's right.
Because they divided it properly during.
That's right.
it's the game.
okay, that's it.
Nobody in the council.
Anybody from council other than Mr. Coates? Okay, thank you very much. That concludes our public hearing for this evening. Thank you very much.